And so our second segment is the ingredient obsession. And so on the episode, we always try and look at what people are talking about, what's the ingredient. And with the ED and disordered eating lens in mind, this one felt really obvious. And so I'm gonna be your patient for a second.
Bring it.
Sugar's bad for me.
Why?
Well, it's just bad. It causes inflammation. It makes people sick. It's the reason why everybody's so fat.
Okay, patient Andrew.
Patient Andrew goes hard.
Yeah, I take it. Hey, listen, honestly, that makes my job the most fun, right? Like to be fired up, to be interesting, to ask questions, to poke holes. Like I think that's a big part of diet culture, right? To be able to poke holes in it. So for sugar, typically the conversation I have in this realm is let's take a step back, right? Food is an umbrella term. Every single edible thing that you have access to is food, right? Like we hope. We hope we're eating edible things. If we're not, that's ironically a different eating disorder, known as pica. But anyway.
I digress.
Right, exactly. So food being an umbrella term, food can break down into three main macronutrients. Those are like our big essential nutrients that we have in a day. Proteins, fats, and carbs. That's it. Anything edible that we are consuming is either a protein and or a fat and or a carb. Literally anything, right? So in the conversation I have when somebody says sugar is bad, well, let's break that down. Is sugar a protein? Probably not. Is sugar a fat? Probably not. Sugar is a carb. Okay, so you have something that has sugar in it, and that becomes a carbohydrate in your body. I place the sugar, whatever we're talking about. Let's say we're talking about a cookie. Okay, so we take the sugar out of the cookie and place it on the table. Then I take two other carbs. I take a blueberry and I place it on the table. Then I take a piece of toast and I place it on the table. We're looking at three carbs. All three of those things taste different in your mouth, right? Mm-hmm. Taste receptors are different, especially as we learned about you, super taster. Yep. They're going to taste different in your mouth.
People are really getting to know me on this podcast. Yeah,
I think it's a good thing.
For better or worse.
It's happening, so we're rolling with it. So all of those things are going to taste different. They all have a different kind of like role in eating too, right?
I love that. That right there. I want to slow it down just because, they have a different role. Go.
Exactly.
Play.
Okay. Exactly. So I wouldn't necessarily say like, so we're using a cookie, we're using a blueberry, we're using a piece of toast. So I wouldn't necessarily say that for my birthday, I want a piece of toast, and putting a candle in a piece of toast for me does not work out for my birthday,
really
right?
Sad.
That sounds really sad.
That makes me real sad.
It does. It's really, really not a good time. So we use that as the example, right? All of those foods are doing something different, or I often have the example of like, lasagna. I use that a lot. Putting blueberries as your noodles in the lasagna is really bizarre. You want to use noodles in your lasagna, right?
Yeah. So a carb is not a carb in some ways.
True. So they all taste a little different. They all do something a little different in regards to, how they're used in your day to day. But at base, sugar from a cookie, a blueberry, and a piece of toast all have carbs. So when you eat carbohydrates, again, they're going to taste different in your mouth. They're going to go down your digestive system. So they're going through your esophagus, they're hitting your stomach, acid is released. Once that happens, the food that you consumed is no longer the recognizable food in your stomach, right? By the time the blueberry leaves your stomach and goes to your small intestine, it's no longer a blueberry. If it is, that is a problem.
Yeah.
Right? That blueberry
it's
breaks
called
down.
Malabsorption,
Exactly.
And you should seek medical help
Correct.
quickly.
Yes, please call us if that's happening to you. So by the time it leaves your stomach, it's no longer a blueberry. It's a carb. So carbs from toast, carbs from blueberries, carbs from cookies come through your intestine or come through your digestive system, hit your stomach, acids released. Now they're carbs. By the time it hits your small intestine, a carb is a carb is a carb. There's no world in which a blueberry is entering your mouth and then ending up in your brain to give you energy, right? Again, problem. Carbohydrates are what's being transported in your body. So by the time carbs enter your brain, right, your brain's preferred energy source is a carbohydrate. So sugar is bad, but sugar is also fueling your entire body.
Your brain runs on glucose.
Literally, exactly.
That is its preference, and it is what it uses.
Exactly. So by the time that carbohydrate enters your brain, it's a carb. Your brain can't decide, I only want carbohydrates from toast. Your brain doesn't get to make that choice. It just needs carbs.
Give me glucose.
Exactly. So the conversation I end up having with people a lot is every single piece of edible food that you consume is breaking down into those three main macronutrients. Your digestive process is working, hopefully. Your digestive process is working. So by that time the food is broken down, it's no longer the food that you consume. It's now its building block. On the inside of
Beautifully
your
said.
body, a carb is a carb is a carb. It doesn't matter where it's coming from.
Facts.
Yeah. Mic drop.
Mic drop moment. We take those.
Yes.
It's so funny when you start to see where, again, in the disordered eating or in these like overly rigid rules, it's something that becomes oversimplified that was probably rooted. Again, they saw a trend and came to the wrong conclusion, right? So sugar is bad is a really good example of noticed a trend and came to the wrong conclusion. But it also it's a linguistic issue because when people say sugar is bad, they don't mean sugar. They mean the foods that they associate with that term.
Right.
And that's what gets so tricky is you said it beautifully. Well, sugar is like the most simple broken down version of a carbohydrate that our body, it goes through our bloodstream as a superhighway to deliver deliver nutrients and energy to all of us. So like we need sugar. Now there's different ways we receive said sugar, but it really, for most people's actual, what they're stating is the observation that excessive sugar has negative effects.
Fair.
And
I'm
that's
not going to
and
negate
that's what
that.
and that's what's funny is, but they're mistaking a hypercaloric problem, a problem of someone consuming way more energy than their body needs or can use, and the inflammatory processes that go downstream from that as sugar is the problem. And it's, well, sugar was one of the ingredients in the overconsumption, but the sugar wasn't necessarily the problem. And then even if we're going to give benefit of the doubt, yes, foods that are higher in just raw added sugar are less filling, which means they're easier to overconsume, but the overconsumption is still the problem. And so if you can consume any carbohydrate in appropriate quantity, we're good.
Right. And that goes for literally anything,
Yeah.
right? Like there is such a thing as too much, but what that means, very subjective, right?
Yeah.
There is definitely in those three examples such a thing as too much, too many cookies for sure.
Beautifully said.
There's
Yes.
also such a thing as too many blueberries,
Facts.
right?
Didn't you see
Like,
Willy Wonka?
yeah, thank you. Love that example. Love that example. Exactly.
Science.
The best kind of science. But there's such a thing as too many for sure. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it doesn't automatically mean that having one of something or having some of something sometimes is the wrong thing or the bad thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
To demonize something at the ingredient level like that, sugar is bad, is to just fundamentally misunderstand the term sugar.
Right.
And yes, it can be a part of very good processes and also detrimental or deleterious processes. But to cut it at sugar is just it's oversimplified, and it's oversimplified in a way that becomes dangerous. And if you actually have robust understanding of what we're talking about, you start to realize that, oh, it's rooted in just lack of understanding.
Right. Exactly.
And man, is that running rampant right now. So I love your mic drop of helping people understand sugar and carbohydrates, because I think that's the thing is there's even the carbs are bad concept, right? Well, the concept of carbs are bad. Do we really think that people are talking about sweet potatoes and blueberries and arugula? Because all of those are dominantly carbohydrate if you look at their distribution of energy.
Right.
But no, they're referring to hyper palatable, easily digestible carbohydrates that are overconsumed or eaten in a way that is not appropriate. So their relationship with it is inappropriate. They have a propensity to overeat it, right? And so we can hear where to blame a macronutrient is to misunderstand how that macronutrient fits into the grand scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
And they're zoomed into the wrong floor of the cascade. And what that ends up doing is it creates fear over things that don't actually make sense.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
When you think about like building a meal, the ideal to build a meal, right? We have a protein, we have carb, we have a fat, we preferably have a produce. If you're eating a meal that exclusively has carbohydrates in it, A, that's not a meal. That's a pile of carbohydrates. B, you're going to need to eat a significant amount of that in order to feel full, right? So when we balance it out and add in all of the other things, how is the carbohydrate the bad thing of that meal? It's one of the 4 essential pieces of it.
Beautifully said. All of a sudden, the carb is no longer the villain. It was the victim. And I'll say it differently. It's actually your ally if you know how to utilize it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some high level stuff.
I did this years ago as the villain, victim, ally triad. It was some, me and my nerdism posts that I go down rabbit hole. That was one on Instagram years ago that I did for sure.
Have to dig that one out.
Yeah, we'll have to find it and repurpose it. Every once in a while I throw something at the wall and it sticks,
Hey, if it sticks, it sticks.
Oh, I love it. Thank you for that. And so Sugar is definitely something that we should be more open-minded to. And I'll put words in your mouth. Maybe we should be looking more at how we're utilizing it and how we're pairing it and how we're eating it rather than that we're eating it.
Right. Yep.
How instead of what?
Mhm.
Welcome to Dietetics.